After being trafficked for 6 years, I became the child of a trafficker. I used to think I was her daughter. When I was 6, she took me along on a job. That day, I helped her lure a little girl, a beautiful one about my age. On the way home, I heard her laughing on the phone. "This one's perfect. We can sell her for a high price." Then, for the first time in my life, she gave me a piece of candy. "Good job, at least raising you wasn't a waste." That was the only reward I had ever received. Not long after that, everything fell apart. Police cars surrounded us from every direction. Flashing lights, loud sirens, chaos. She was dragged to the ground, handcuffed. The buyers were arrested too. Nearby, the little girl was clinging to a woman, crying uncontrollably. "My baby, my Sophia Carter. I'm so sorry Mommy couldn't protect you." The woman's voice broke as she held her tightly, as if she might disappear again. Then the little girl pointed at me. "Big sister." The woman followed her finger and looked straight at me. For a split second her eyes softened. Then suddenly, they turned cold, sharp, full of hatred. "She's not your sister," she said, pulling the girl closer. "She's one of them, a trafficker's child." I froze, didn't know where to go, didn't know where I belonged. Everyone was staring at me. A man's voice cut through the noise. "Doesn't she look like Emily?" He sounded unsure. "But she looks younger. Emily should be older by now." The woman who raised me was being shoved into a police car. The man rushed over and grabbed her arm. "Tell me the truth, is that girl yours?" She spat at him. "Mine, don't joke. I gave birth to a son, not some useless girl. That brat, I picked her up off the street. Fed her out of pity. First time taking her out and she already messed things up. Worthless. Should have thrown her into the river back then." My mind went blank, so she wasn't my mother. That explained everything. Why I never had enough food. Why my brother always ate first. Why I had to dig through trash just to survive. The man walked toward me. I was shaking. After a long silence, he said softly, "Come with us." That was the second time I had ever been in a car. It smelled clean, nothing like the dirty van I used to ride in. I curled into the corner, afraid to touch anything. Afraid I would make it dirty. In the front seat, the woman held her daughter close. Her voice was gentle now. "Sophia Carter, tell Mommy what happened." The little girl pointed at me again. She said she had candy. The woman's expression hardened. "So it was you? You tricked my daughter." "Of course. Kids raised by traffickers, what else could they be?" The man looked at me through the rearview mirror. He didn't say a word, but whatever pity was in his eyes disappeared. They dropped the woman and the little girl off first. Then he took me to a hospital. Blood was drawn. Tests were done. Later, he stood in front of me holding a report. His voice was steady, but complicated. "My name is Daniel Carter. Linda Carter is your mother, and Sophia Carter is your younger sister." I looked at him, confused. "Sir, my name isn't Emily. It's Emily Carter." His expression froze, then he spoke slowly. "No, that's not your name. Your real name is Emily Carter. You were taken when you were 5 months old. Emily Carter." I repeated it quietly in my head, so my name could sound that beautiful. Under his gaze, I hesitated, then tried to say it. "Dad." He nodded slightly, and something inside my chest cracked open. Warm, painful, strange. I remembered the way that woman hugged her daughter. So gently, so carefully. Would she hug me like that too? The thought grew wildly in my heart, but when we arrived home, everything shattered. The moment I saw her, I whispered, "Mom, Daniel." She stood up abruptly, her voice sharp. Why I never had enough food. Why my brother always ate first. Why I had to dig through trash just to survive. The man walked toward me. I was shaking. After a long silence, he said softly, "Come with us." That was the second time I had ever been in a car. It smelled clean, nothing like the dirty van I used to ride in. I curled into the corner, afraid to touch anything. Afraid I would make it dirty. In the front seat, the woman held her daughter close. Her voice was gentle now. "Sophia Carter, tell Mommy what happened." The little girl pointed at me again. She said she had candy. The woman's expression hardened. "So it was you? You tricked my daughter." "Of course. Kids raised by traffickers, what else could they be?" The man looked at me through the rearview mirror. He didn't say a word, but whatever pity was in his eyes disappeared. They dropped the woman and the little girl off first. Then he took me to a hospital. Blood was drawn. Tests were done. Later, he stood in front of me holding a report. His voice was steady, but complicated. "My name is Daniel Carter. Linda Carter is your mother, and Sophia Carter is your younger sister." I looked at him, confused. "Sir, my name isn't Emily. It's Emily Carter." His expression froze, then he spoke slowly. "No, that's not your name. Your real name is Emily Carter. You were taken when you were 5 months old. Emily Carter, I repeated it quietly in my head, so my name could sound that beautiful. Under his gaze, I hesitated, then tried to say it. Dad. He nodded slightly, and something inside my chest cracked open. Warm, painful, strange. I remembered the way that woman hugged her daughter. So gently, so carefully. Would she hug me like that too? The thought grew wildly in my heart, but when we arrived home, everything shattered. The moment I saw her, I whispered, "Mom, Daniel." She stood up abruptly, her voice sharp. Why I never had enough food. Why my brother always ate first. Why I had to dig through trash just to survive. The man walked toward me. I was shaking. After a long silence, he said softly, "Come with us." That was the second time I had ever been in a car. It smelled clean, nothing like the dirty van I used to ride in. I curled into the corner, afraid to touch anything. Afraid I would make it dirty. In the front seat, the woman held her daughter close. Her voice was gentle now. "Sophia Carter, tell Mommy what happened." The little girl pointed at me again. She said she had candy. The woman's expression hardened. "So it was you? You tricked my daughter." "Of course. Kids raised by traffickers, what else could they be?" The man looked at me through the rearview mirror. He didn't say a word, but whatever pity was in his eyes disappeared. They dropped the woman and the little girl off first. Then he took me to a hospital. Blood was drawn. Tests were done. Later, he stood in front of me holding a report. His voice was steady, but complicated. "My name is Daniel Carter. Linda Carter is your mother, and Sophia Carter is your younger sister." I looked at him, confused. "Sir, my name isn't Emily. It's Emily Carter." His expression froze, then he spoke slowly. "No, that's not your name. Your real name is Emily Carter. You were taken when you were 5 months old. Emily Carter," I repeated it quietly in my head, so my name could sound that beautiful. Under his gaze, I hesitated, then tried to say it. "Dad." He nodded slightly, and something inside my chest cracked open. Warm, painful, strange. I remembered the way that woman hugged her daughter. So gently, so carefully. Would she hug me like that too? The thought grew wildly in my heart, but when we arrived home, everything shattered. The moment I saw her, I whispered, "Mom, Daniel." She stood up abruptly, her voice sharp. "It's okay," I said quickly, forcing a smile. "This is already really good." That night, I didn't dare fall asleep. The room was warm, the bed was soft, my stomach was full. Everything felt unreal. I was afraid if I closed my eyes, I would wake up on the cold floor again. Hungry, listening to curses. Before dawn, I woke up. I couldn't stay still. If I stayed still, I would get beat. When my dad came downstairs, he froze, the floor was clean, and on the table, a bowl of hot porridge. "Why are you up so early?" Before I could answer, his mother came out. She grabbed his arm and lowered her voice, but I still heard every word. "Don't eat that. She grew up with traffickers. Who knows what she might do?" My face burned red. "I wouldn't hurt you, I just wanted to help." But she ignored me. "I'm taking Sophia Carter out. We'll eat outside before school." After they left, my dad sighed. "When you were taken, she fell into severe depression. She only got better after Sophia Carter was born. Sophia Carter is everything to her." This scared her. "Don't blame your mom." I nodded. It was my fault. I told myself that. Having food, having clothes, being able to go to school, that should be enough. I shouldn't want more, but school was another nightmare. I was different. Quiet, slow, I didn't understand basic things. My accent was strange. And Jason Carter made sure everyone knew. "She's not really my sister. She used to live with traffickers. Stay away from her, she steals." He knocked my pencil case off the desk, tripped me when I walked past. When I came back from the restroom, my new books were torn apart. I didn't say anything. I didn't dare. If I fought back, it would only get worse, and Mom would hate me even more. One day, I tried to apologize to Sophia Carter, but her mother watched me like a criminal. Sophia Carter didn't understand anything. She was too young. That afternoon, her mother stepped into the kitchen. The living room was quiet. The moment I walked in, Sophia Carter ran toward me with open arms. "Big sister." I bent down to catch her, but suddenly everything went black. My body froze. My hands dropped. I didn't catch her. She fell and started crying. "Sophia Carter." Her mother rushed out and shoved me hard. I stumbled forward, knocking over a glass on the table. It shattered, and I fell straight onto the broken pieces. Pain exploded across my face. I screamed. "What did you do to her?" She held Sophia Carter tightly. "I knew it. You've already been ruined. Why didn't you just die out there? If anything happens to Sophia Carter, I'll never forgive you." At that moment, my dad came home. He froze when he saw me, covered in blood. Then everything turned into chaos again. At the hospital, they rushed me into surgery. Later, the doctor spoke quietly. We removed the glass. But the damage is too severe. She may lose her right eye. My dad staggered. But that wasn't the worst part. When the nurses removed my clothes, the room went silent. Scars everywhere, whip marks, burn scars, bruises, old fractures. Some of them dated back to infancy. Even the doctor looked shaken. She's been starving for a long time. Severe malnutrition. Multiple injuries. It's a miracle she survived. When I woke up, my dad was there. His eyes were bloodshot. His voice was hoarse. They had to remove your eye. I didn't tell your mom yet. I was afraid she couldn't handle it. He looked at me. Tell me what you want. I'll make it up to you. I blinked with my only remaining eye. My head throbbed. Along with my eye, something else was gone too. The hope of having a family, the dream of being loved. My dad tried to speak again. Your mom just needs time. Then his phone rang. It's your mom, he said. See. She still cares, he answered. Put it on speaker. And suddenly, his hand tightened around the phone. His face changed. He looked at me. Panicked. The voice on the phone was calm, nothing like the rage I remembered before I passed out. Daniel, why aren't you home yet? It's already late. Sophia Carter has been looking for you. My dad lowered his voice. Shuya just woke up. She's still unstable. What's unstable about her? She cut him off, impatient. She just fell, didn't she? How serious could it be? Then her tone turned sharp. You're staying there for her? Neglecting your own daughter? Do you even care about this family anymore? Zinlin, that's enough. My dad's face darkened. He glanced at me instinctively. She let out a cold laugh. Don't be fooled by her act. Just come home. Don't ruin this family over an outsider. She's not an outsider, my dad snapped. She's our daughter. I don't have a daughter like that. My daughter is Sophia Carter, only Sophia Carter. If you don't come back, then stay with her forever. The call ended. Silence filled the room. My dad stood there, still holding the phone, his face drained of color. I looked at him with my remaining eye. I want to transfer to a boarding school. He froze. I spoke slowly. If mom doesn't see me every day, she won't be upset. Brother won't worry about me taking anything. Sophia Carter won't be scared anymore. Everything can go back to normal. He looked at my bandaged face, and in the end, he nodded. I stayed in the hospital for half a month. A caregiver took care of me. My dad visited sometimes. My mother never came once. This was my first time in a hospital. Back then, even when I was beaten half to death, no one cared. The smell of disinfectant felt strangely safe. Sometimes I wondered why I was still alive. Maybe she was right. Maybe I was just hard to kill. After I was discharged, I went straight to a boarding school. Far from the city, far from them. I had only stayed in that house for a few days. There was nothing to pack, a new place, new faces, a missing field of vision, and pain that came and went like a ghost. I became even quieter. I hid my right eye behind my bangs, avoided eye contact, spoke only when necessary. The teachers knew something. They treated me gently, let me sit in the front, told others not to disturb me. A week later, during dinner at home, she suddenly asked, "Where's that girl? Haven't seen her lately." My dad paused, then said quietly, "She's not living here anymore." I transferred her, boarding school. She froze for a second, then exhaled. That's probably for the best. Jingchuan immediately scoffed. She knows she's too stupid to keep up. Did us a favor by leaving. She peeled shrimp for Sophia Carter, speaking calmly, but there was fear in her voice. They say blood isn't everything. She lived with traffickers for 6 years. Who knows what she's learned? What if she resents us? What if she blames us? What if she tries to hurt us someday? Enough! My dad slammed his chopsticks down. The table shook. You've forgotten how she was lost. His voice trembled. She went pale. 6 years ago you wanted to go out. Jingchuan was crying, so you left him with me. Shuya was quiet, so you took her. You went shopping, left the stroller aside, and when you turned back, she was gone. You were losing your mind. I didn't blame you. You fell into depression. People talk. Said you abandoned your daughter. You almost didn't make it. After Sophia Carter was born, you gave her everything. To prove something? But tell me, who do you really owe? She started shaking. My dad closed his eyes, then spoke again. I never mentioned this because I didn't want to hurt you. But have you been telling yourself that if Shuya turned bad, you wouldn't have to feel guilty? She covered her ears. My dad placed the medical report on the table. Look at it. 6 years. She was abused, starved, barely survived. His finger trembled. Her eye was destroyed. Removed, because you pushed her. Silence. Removed, she whispered, like she didn't understand the words. I just pushed her, she only fell. She was screaming. My dad's voice cracked. She was in the hospital for weeks. Did you even ask once? She said nothing. Her fingers dug into her skin until they bled. My dad sank into the chair. I failed her too. If I had protected her better. Then he turned to Jingchuan. And you, she's your sister. Even if you don't care, you shouldn't have led others to bully her. Jingchuan turned pale. She's only 6, my dad's voice broke. She never knew what a home felt like. And when she came back, her own mother treated her like an enemy. Her brother hurt her. If she hates us, she has every right. That night, everything changed. Then, another storm came, the news, the trafficking case. The woman appeared on screen, in handcuffs, confessing. That kid wasn't mine. I picked her up years ago, thought I could sell her. But she got sick, no one wanted her. So I kept her, couldn't waste food on her. She had to work for it. She was easy to trick. I told her bring me a child and she'd get food, no more beatings. She believed me, she didn't even know what she was doing. Silence, for the first time. They understood, I wasn't trying to hurt anyone, I was just hungry, I didn't even know the truth. Sophia Carter suddenly spoke. When is big sister coming home? My dad knelt beside her. Why do you like her? Didn't she take you away? She shook her head hard. No, a bad person hit me. Big sister protected me. She got hurt. She told me not to be scared. Said mommy and daddy would come? And you did. My dad's eyes turned red. Everything they believed was wrong, but I didn't know any of this. At school, I was still that girl. The label never left. I sat alone, ate the cheapest food, wore worn-out uniforms. Even though I had money, I didn't dare use it. I didn't deserve it, so I studied. Relentlessly, high scores were the only way. I could prove I wasn't useless. One day, my mother came. She stood outside the dorm, holding bags of clothes. I took them, didn't look inside, just bowed slightly. Thank you, Mom. She looked at my face, at the empty space beneath my hair. She wanted to say something, but didn't. Study well, take care. That was all. After that, she called sometimes, tried to sound gentle, but between us, there was too much pain, too many cracks, and neither of us knew how to fix them. After that, our connection became minimal. At the end of each semester, my teachers would report my grades. My mom would praise me politely. My dad would send gifts. Jason Carter once awkwardly mentioned he bought a Lego set. Said we could build it together when you come home. But I never went back. Sophia Carter grew up. She began to understand why everyone treated me differently, but she never blamed me. What she remembered most clearly wasn't being taken, it was the darkness. The moment I held her in my arms, shielding her from the blows, and the promise I made. I'll take you back to Mom. In high school, I got a prosthetic eye. The surgery wasn't complicated, still uncomfortable. When they placed it in, everyone was watching me. I didn't know what expression I was supposed to have, so I thought about it. Carefully. The nurse handed me a mirror. For the first time, my face looked normal again. The empty hollow was gone. Even though I still couldn't see, I looked like everyone else. I stood up, bowed slightly. Thank you, my mother waved her hands awkwardly. No need, that was how we were, polite, distant, like relatives who only met on holidays. One day, Sophia Carter came to see me. Alone, she brought a package. Inside, tiny clothes. Mom bought these after you disappeared. Every year, from age 1 to 3, she missed you a lot. Mom loves you. I ran my fingers over the soft fabric. If I had received this, back when I first returned, I would have cried, but now I felt almost nothing. Ever since that injury, my emotions had dulled. Sophia Carter, I said quietly, she doesn't love me. She loved me. I held up a small dress. See this? It only goes up to age 3. After that, nothing, because I was replaced. Sophia Carter froze. She wanted to argue, but she couldn't, because it was true. Time passed. I read more, learned more, and I understood. What happened back then was never really my fault. And ironically, both times a child was taken, my mother was the one there, but all her fear and anger was directed at me. Jingchuan came to see me once, during high school. He looked different. More grown, more restrained. He said the same things Sophia Carter did, about how hard it had been for Mom, how much she suffered. He apologized, too, for everything. I didn't interrupt until he finished, and looked at me, waiting. Then I said softly, I was 6. He froze. You expect a 6-year-old to understand hatred from her own mother? To process fear like an adult? To forgive someone who never showed her warmth, and cost her an eye? I can't. His face flushed red. Shame, regret, but his words were too heavy for me. I lost 6 years. I was abused for 6 years. Who understood me? There was always one question. Sophia Carter was found in 3 days. Why wasn't I? I never asked. But when I looked at Jingchuan, who looked just like me, I already knew. Some rumors might have been true. Years passed. I got into a top university. My school hung banners to celebrate. At home, they were proud. My dad's voice was full of excitement. Sophia Carter said she was proud of me too. My mother hesitated, then invited me home. For dinner, to celebrate. I paused, then said, okay. Dinner was perfect. Sophia Carter chatted happily. My parents looked at her with pure warmth. Jingchuan had matured. Everyone tried to include me, and I tried to respond. But everything felt surface level, like a performance. That night, I understood clearly. I didn't belong there. After dinner, my mom said, why not stay tonight? I'll prepare the guest room. The guest room, not ready, not mine, just politeness. I smiled. No need, Mom. I have things to do at school. She didn't insist, just packed me some fruit. My dad walked me out under dim streetlights. We talked about the future, plans, life, things we had already discussed. At the gate, he offered to drive me. I'll take the bus, I said. He hesitated, then nodded. He handed me a bank card. 4 years of tuition. Living expenses, too. I tried to refuse. Take it, he said firmly. Let me do this much. I accepted. University life was busy. I studied hard, won scholarships, saved everything. I barely used his money. During holidays, I went back, a guest. Polite. Quiet, people asked questions. I smiled, changed the subject. I never spoke about those 6 years or my eye. After graduation, I started working. Jingchuan warned me about workplace cruelty. I accepted it politely. He forgot. I learned about cruelty much earlier. Then, I met someone warm, someone safe. They wanted to meet him, but I wondered they didn't even understand me. How could they judge him? At dinner, it was the same. They tried. Sophia Carter smiled. Hello, brother-in-law. Jingchuan warned him, don't hurt her. My mom said, she's suffered enough. My dad said, if you ever hurt her, we won't let it go. For a moment, I felt something strange, as if I had always been loved. I got married, on a bright day, and built something small, something warm, something mine. I guarded it carefully, with everything I had. My child would never leave my sight, not even for a second. I could never understand how someone could make that mistake. Years passed, they grew older. We stayed polite. Distant, I never understood how a mother could hate a child she found again, but I stopped looking for answers. Some things don't have perfect explanations, and I no longer needed them. I made peace with the past, not forgiveness. Not forgetting, just acceptance. And letting go. Now I have my own home, warm lights, a loving partner, a steady life. That's enough. I can make egg noodles any time I want, as many as I want, and I finally have what I always longed for. A pair of small arms wrapped around me, a soft voice saying, Mom, hug me.